Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. Is Joe Biden dead? Has he been replaced? It's becoming a mainstream narrative. And of course, these are all things that I've discussed over the years that you've all talked about as well amongst yourselves or with others. Is this Joe Biden even real that they're rolling out to us on a day in and day out basis? And what we're seeing is that the mainstream media is gaslighting conspiracy theories. And we have a lot of the same gatekeepers out there, like Alex Jones, who of course does give you truth. He wouldn't be able to lure you in into listening to him if he didn't give you some truth. And that's what government agents do. They lure you in with some truth, and then of course keep you trapped in the left-right paradigm, which is the main thing that most people should be exposing at this point. And that is why the alt-right media is so important. So let's start with this whole notion of, is Joe Biden alive or dead? Blaze Media, NBC News, they're all talking about conspiracy theories that Biden is dead or actually dying. And there's some truth to a lot of these things, but of course, they won't go into stuff revolving around artificial intelligence or even cloning because they want you to think that all those types of theories are completely insane. They want you to stay stuck into believing that all of these people are real people, when there should be a notion out there where people should say, hey, you know what? With how advanced we are with technology, with how advanced we are with human cloning, maybe we should start looking at these people as not voted in people, as actually not even being real people at this point. And I know it's a crazy notion for new people to actually wrap their heads around. So let's take a look at how they're gaslighting people and some of the narratives that are out there first before I get into Jones and Elon Musk. And the notion, of course, that artificial intelligence couldn't be what's behind Joe Biden because they want you to think that these are just puppets of the deep state because they don't want you to realize that Trump is one of the puppets of the deep state as well. So some of the headlines are the bullet hit Trump, but it killed Joe Biden. And then some of the other stuff that they've been doing over the last week or so before Joe Biden dropped out of the election in 2024 is trying to make it seem like they killed Joe Biden or Joe Biden's been replaced. The White House releasing Joe Biden's schedule for the week, right? And his schedule was completely empty. No public events scheduled. Additional details on his schedule was forthcoming. And of course, what they did was they put Joe Biden out there to speak to the nation because he had to speak because his resignation, the theory is that he didn't really give the resignation. They forced him into it. That is the conspiracy that's out there, that they want you to think that he didn't really want to step aside and they forced him to step aside and they put out a fake press release with a fake signature and it wasn't really his. And of course, when he came on TV to speak, what was immediately trending and spreading all over the place was people zoomed in on Joe Biden's watch. And they said, look, Joe Biden's watch is not matching up to the exact time of this speech. Everything out there we need to take a close look at. Is Joe Biden alive? Was this even real? Was this filmed in advance? And then they killed him off. Now, let's take a look at just some of the obvious stuff with Joe Biden if you haven't been paying attention. People do age and they do change how they look when they age, right? That's common sense. But if you actually look at photographs of Joe Biden over the last 8 years or so, you could clearly see it's not even the same person. You could see that they're using either stunt doubles or clones or artificial intelligence or a combination of all of the above. The notion that most people have is it is very hard for them to actually grasp that they could create AI like that. Like they could actually have an AI bot in as a president of the United States. But their comprehension of what AI is capable of is only as much as the government shows them. So all the stuff you see from like Boston Robotics of these crazy robots doing backflips and things like that, they want you to think that that's as far as they are with the advancement on it because they don't want you to think that it's possible that they could be using artificial intelligence and in fact clones in positions of power like this. And the clone notion, if you're not familiar with cloning, I know it sounds like a crazy notion. That's because they've put it out there and made it seem like a crazy notion over the last 20 years or so. But I've even played for you the speech by Bill Clinton where he talks about how they have the ability to clone and how they need to put laws and bills in place with ethics behind it. And that's coming from Bill Clinton, somebody who clearly has no ethics because none of these people have any ethics at all. But they admitted to having this capability. So if you actually look at some of the pictures of Joe Biden, even over the last 10 years, 8 years or so, you could see it's not the same person. Now, they've come out and they've said stuff like he's gotten plastic surgery. It's not the same guy. He has different fake teeth. He has a different nose. He has a different jawline. It's very clear. And we all know, or if you don't know, you should know, in the Illuminati card game, they even have the imposter card, which really looks like a bit like Joe Biden with the white hair, the imposter card. Now, for anybody that doubts that they actually have laboratories where they do these types of things with artificial intelligence, well, here's just a clip of some of the stuff that they have out there. And then you could use your brain and start thinking about even the way that Joe Biden walks and talks. Right? So the capability that they have is there. It's just a matter of you being able to grasp if they're doing that, why they would do that. And you should be able to grasp that. Because, again, Democrats, if you were told that Donald Trump was doing this type of stuff, they would believe it. And Republicans would believe that Democrats were doing it if you told them it was Obama or Biden doing it, right? What needs to happen is the collective minds that are all stuck in the hive mind need to come out of the hive mind and realize that we're being duped on a day in, day out basis. Because remember, the entire world is a stage. And one of the things is Alex Jones, okay? And I would watch very closely to the stuff that Jones is saying because Jones he is on the inside. Jones is what you call COINTELPRO. It's very hard for the newbies to wake up to that. They think that people like me and you, like, oh, we're like Alex Jones, we're wannabes. Those are the things they've all been trained into thinking, right? They don't want to believe that Jones is an operative. Most people, when they first wake up, go to Alex Jones and then realize more and more as they wake up about COINTELPRO and how these people, are on the inside. And Jones even has shown us in the past his credentials with Time Warner when he was pulled over by a police officer, okay? Alex Jones and this, the independent media InfoWars, it gives you tastes of truth, but what does it do? It keeps you stuck in the left-right. Now, Jones is buddies with Elon Musk. You never hear Jones go into deep detail about AI and them having the ability to clone and fake these people and put them in power. So what Jones is out there doing, in addition to continually luring in conservatives into this left-right trap, posting things like fight, 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 he's even, of course, pushing the conspiracy theory, which is what his job is, that there are more than one shooter, right? You won't hear Jones talk about the notion of this whole thing being staged, other than, of course, this, which he continually is tweeting out, about crazy callers who think the Trump assassination attempt was staged. So Jones tweets out these things and does on his show, he has people come on who are speaking a bit like me, saying, well, Trump is one of them. I think the entire thing is staged. And Jones is immediately dismissing it and keeping everybody stuck in the notion that this was real and trapped in the left-right paradigm. That's what his role is. That's why, just like Trump, out in the open, they've tried to victimize Alex Jones. He's gone to his charade trial, just like Trump. He lost his charade trial, just like Trump. We're told that he owes billions of dollars. He continues to be on TV or, continues to make, post and do all these other things, right? They're trying to pretend like, oh, they're going to take him forward to build credibility. That's what it does. So when Jones comes out and says some of the things like he has said recently, it gives him credibility. And I think going forward, even the notion of Hillary Clinton getting put into a position of power, possibly as the next president, would give Jones more credibility. He's actually out there and he's constantly talking about how he predicted Trump's assassination. That's a common theme that we hear prophets saying that All of you know that I've talked about it for years. I didn't predict anything. I did not prophesize anything. Why did I talk about it? How did I talk about it? Because the media was telling us that there was going to be an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I showed you article after article after article. I've showed you the predictive programming with the assassination. So anybody out there that's saying that I told you so, that type of a narrative, like Alex Jones is clearly a government operative trying to say, look, I told you they were going to go after him. And that's what he's saying here. He told everybody that Donald Trump, there'd be an assassination attempt on Trump, and then there would be an elimination of Joe Biden. Let me play for you this clip of him talking about just that.
You're about to see clips of me in the last month say that if they tried to kill Trump, they would also kill Joe Biden, because he's been going against the deep state, as bad as he is, trying to stay in power and bucking their orders. Now, even Fox News this morning said, we want proof of life. Where's Joe Biden? He hasn't been seen in 5 days since he was in Vegas. And now Charlie Kirk, who has amazing sources inside law enforcement, says law enforcement tells him he had a medical emergency. They asked him on the 17th to block the roads for Biden in Vegas, but he didn't go to the hospital they said he was going to go to. And they put him on a plane and flew him out to a military hospital on the East Coast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden, after an attempted assassination of Trump and all of this, has now not been seen. Then you get his brother coming out and saying he wants him to enjoy whatever time he has left. You have the signatures that were put out with no government letterhead, no U.S. seal, no presidential seal, that do not match at all. If you came in with a bank signature, they checked the signature card, they would decline the check. And you add to all of this the craziness of them trying to install Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton jockeying for positions of power. This is insane. I'm not saying President Biden is dead. I'm asking, is he dead? Is he in a coma? Again, I'm not saying he's dead. I'm asking, is he in a coma like Woodrow Wilson was for 6 months, and his wife was really the president back in 1913, the guy that gave us the Federal Reserve, the IRS, and all the rest of it. This is the time of coups. This is the deep state desperate, the bureaucracy, to keep control of America. And Biden wasn't following their orders. He was the evil globalist, but he wasn't following their orders. And Trump is totally against him. You just had a failed assassination attempt against Trump. You had a secret service stand down, all the experts saying 2 shooters. This is such an insanely dangerous time.
So again, he's saying, I don't know if Biden's dead or not, if he's been replaced, if he's in an actual coma. Of course, he won't ever give anybody out there the possibility that Biden himself might not even be a real person. Doesn't even look anything at all like the Joe Biden that we had seen over the years. There's many different Joe Bidens that clearly appear because, again, we hear some of the speeches like at the debate where he can't even complete a sentence. And then 24 hours later, he's given a speech on climate change and he's speaking perfectly fine, right? There's dual versions. You can see from the faces that there's dual versions of Joe Biden. A man at his age wouldn't even be able to keep up with the amount of appearances and things that these people are supposed to do on a weekly basis. So Joe Biden, again, this notion of Biden being dead. How about the notion of Joe Biden being an imposter? How about the notion of Joe Biden not even being a real person? How about the notion of all of this stuff in politics being staged to warp our perception on what's really happening in the world? Those aren't things that Jones talks about. And when the mainstream media comes out, like NBC News, and they tell you that Elon Musk, Twitter, or X is boasting conspiracy theories, they're pushing conspiracy theories about him being dead, the stuff that they do to gaslight you by showing you his watch, and his watch doesn't match up with the live time of his interview. So it makes people think more and more something's going on. But they don't seem to be able to grasp the fact that they're constantly being played by the media. That you can't pick and choose what stuff you want to believe and what stuff you don't want to believe. And how do people not see the government gaslighting them with all of these theories that are out there right now? Biden not being alive. Biden potentially has been killed, and the interview is from a different day, and they just blasted it out. And they forged his signature, and they put up his posts on Twitter. He didn't really want to back out of the race. They forced him out by whacking him or offing him. And then, of course, the notion of his brother saying, well, we're going to live out these last days with Joe Biden. We're going to enjoy our last days. All these things are deliberately being fed to you. That's what the government does. This is nothing more than a mind control operation. So You have to be careful when you see these things to not buy into some of the notions they want you to buy into. And that's what people struggle with Alex Jones, because of course, some of the stuff that he says is true, about the government and what the government's really doing. But the biggest red flag for everybody out there right now should be anybody that's covering for this fake assassination attempt and trying to tell anyone out there that says it's staged and not real that they're out of their minds, that they have a warped sense of reality, that they're a conspiracy theorist. And that's exactly the purpose as a COINTELPRO agent, that is the purpose that Jones is serving right now. Okay, I talked about it with the hook at Sandy, right? With his court scam, his sham of a court, hearing, and how he said, well, his lawyers and everybody told him not to talk, and all these people believe that narrative when he could have went in there and asked for actual evidence, as if it was any type of criminal case, any type of true crime. You need evidence. You can't just be told by the television that this event happens and then roll out the parents and say, well, you shouldn't be able to. If you question the parents and their validity here, that you're a horrible person. Instead of saying, hey, we just want evidence, right? He had an opportunity to do that, and of course he did. He set a precedent that people will be able to sue you if you have if you question the news. That's the precedent that Alex Jones set. And of course, now he's out there and he's making it seem like anybody who has the notion that Trump is in on this, that it was all fake and staged, is completely nuts, right? That's a giveaway. That should be a giveaway to everybody out there. How Jones is completely in on Trump, going along with Trump. And look also how all of these guys like Trump and Alex Jones are all buddies with Elon Musk. People don't see what the deception that's coming is here. Musk for years is a Democrat. Oh, now he's a conservative, right? Well, what's the thing that they're trying to dupe you with and push on you on both sides? AI. And they're all going to be on board with AI. And the fact that, Musk is aligning himself with conservatives is part of the Neuralink deception that's coming. Getting these people on board with this type of tech, getting people on board with these laws to be passed for artificial intelligence. They'll think it's to protect us from AI, but it's really to protect AI from us, so that artificial intelligence is looked at as an entity that is allowed to exist in our world, when we should all be fighting against it. We should all be saying, get rid of this stuff. And the people who are responsible for creating these Frankenstein, robotics should all be, if they don't stop what they're doing, they should all be thrown in jail for crimes against humanity. It's taking jobs away from humans. It's deceiving people with deep fakes and, being able to manipulate voices and doing that through the phone and phone calls. How many of these fake phone calls we've heard where it sounds like somebody? I mean, it's insane that we're allowing it, but they want you to have to accept that. And that's what Musk's role in all this stuff is going to be. And that's why he's in bed with all these conservatives out in the open, right? So again, the notion of Biden being dead, this is clearly a government, the government wants you down a rabbit hole of thinking that they whacked Joe Biden. They don't want you down a rabbit hole to even wonder if Joe Biden's real in the first place, right? These things that they're leaking are deliberate. The fact that NBC is covering it, right? Who cares what the spin is? It's not about the spin. NBC's giving, credence to this whole notion that, conspiracy theorists are saying that Joe Biden's dead, right? And then you have the conservative media. Explosion in Google searches for is Biden dead? Wow, people are, no. Oh, the bullet hit Trump, but then did it kill Joe Biden? Why is Joe Biden's watch not matching up with live TV? Guess what? Because live TV is not really live. How about that? Kind of like that event that happened with Donald Trump, that staged assassination, right? How about the press? Where's Joe Biden's schedule that's circulating? Oh, he has nothing scheduled. They must have killed him. And now somebody else, and there's brothers out there talking about how Joe's going to enjoy his last days, right? How about this? Imposter. How about all of these people are imposters? How about the fact or the notion that cloning is real? Artificial intelligence being way more advanced than we could ever possibly imagine is legit. What are they gatekeeping for? They're gatekeeping for the New World Order by keeping you in this left-right paradigm and preventing civilians from rising up against this technology and rising up against what is a completely manipulated and hijacked system. Okay, the voting system. The people who are getting rolled out to us for president, for senator, they're all hand selected. They don't want you to ever figure that out, that this isn't a quote unquote democracy, which is really a republic. Okay, so those are the theories that are out there. And I mentioned earlier to watch some of the stuff that Jones said, because Jones, again, he's patting himself on the back about the assassination thing which again is something like, I talked about for years and years and years. I would never pat myself in the back. There's nothing to, they show you this stuff. I wasn't doing videos on it because I was, this thing came in my head. Yeah, these ideas have come in a lot of people's head about a Trump assassination because they keep telling us it, from Johnny Depp out in the open talking about assassinating Trump, all the clips I put together and shown you, right? They want you to think that Alex Jones is getting this fed from God. That's his newest narrative, right? Who's his source? God's his source. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start watching what Jones says, if this stuff starts coming true. Because remember, Jones is on the inside. The people who listen to him would never, ever believe that in a million years. He's feeding a lot of this information. And if he's going to get more credibility, or they want him to get more credibility, the whole thing with Hillary Clinton would actually make sense. But what's the thing that Jones is going to tell you? Well, he gives you truth and people go, oh, look, Jones knew about an assassination, even though everybody was told about the assassination about 1 million times. Jones is telling everybody out there that people calling his show who thinks the assassination are staged are completely out of their minds. Well, of course, because that's the big thing that they need to keep you stuck in, the left-right paradigm. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.